I'm calling this meeting to order. I just want to check in with one more person. Kelly, are you all set?
Yeah, Kelly, maybe your mic is not working or something because you're not muted anymore and we can't hear you.
Maybe she could answer you in chat that she can hear us.
Yeah, maybe you can chat and let us know if you can hear.
At least send something to Mary.
You can text me.
All set, Mary?
I haven't heard anything from Kelly yet. Oh, she says she's here.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kelly. All right, so now that we have our clerk is ready to go, I am going to read an excerpt regarding public meetings pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order concerning imposition on strict limitations of the number of people that may gather in one place. This Conservation Commission meeting at the town of Webster will be conducted through this platform of Zoom. All the commissioners have been roll called. And I would like to bring up the first order of business, which is meeting minutes for approval of September 21st. Do we have any discussion and do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve those minutes.
Okay. Michelle with the first. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Robin with a second. And Mary, would you like to poll?
Oh, yes. Dr. Jewell,
Yes.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
and Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. Before we get to the next order, Mary, is Hayden or anyone in the waiting room?
No, not yet.
Okay. So request for determinations, RDAs, we do not have any, so we'll be bypassing that. Public hearings, notices of intent, also known as NOIs. 3 Claybert Ave, Antonia Diaz, the owner applicant, if you remember, expansion of a driveway. This is continued from October 22nd. Fred and I visited this property shortly after a stop work order had been given, but the project had already been done. We had discussed
It's okay.
back with the owner, Antonia, which we have you online, right, Antonia?
Yes, I'm here. Thank
Okay.
you very much for having me here.
You're very welcome. So to bring everyone back up to speed from early part of October, Antonia had her driveway resurfaced in the back and extended towards the wetland that runs on, as part of this photograph, towards the north. You can see it there. Towards the buffer zone and towards the neighbor's property on the facing the back of the yard on the right hand side. You can see it there. We discussed with her what her intentions were. She had said at that point that she had no other intentions on doing any other work there. So as far as what we had discussed at a previous meeting was that she was going to, what she wanted to do was sort of smooth out the soil that had gotten sort of pushed back there so that they can make the driveway level, and rake it out, and have it level. No more cutting down trees. There was a loss of, I believe, 3 trees. Antonia is willing
It
to,
was 2 of them.
I'm sorry?
It was two trees.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did discuss with her the option of putting in some shrubs. There is still quite a canopy of trees, as you can see. Neighbors had expressed concern of impact on wildlife habitat and the actual wetland itself. There is still quite a bit of between any runoff of the driveway and to the wetland area. It would be beneficial if she would have put in a few shrubs along the back there. But there's sort of a visual line of trees there. And we discussed with her that that should be the line, that should be considered a border, and should no other work or anything, or any dumping of leaves or anything of that matter, grass clippings and so forth, should head that way and towards that wetland. At the time, also, the neighbor, Carol, to the left of Antonia, brought up concerns of a possible property line dispute, where the pavement in the far left corner behind the van may have extended the driveway over Carol's property. At that time, we did tell Carol that any dispute like that on to us, and she would need to take it up, really work with Antonia on that, and you know, come to a mutual agreement.
Yeah, I think it might be beneficial. The commission can't require this, but for Antonio to get her property surveyed, because it's even possible that the new pavement is not on her property. Because we don't know for sure. But
Yeah, I've been
looking
for one. I've been looking for one, but nobody knows about one. I've been calling places and stuff, and they haven't told me anything, because when I brought the property, and she was there when I brought the property. I came to see the property twice before I brought it, and she was there, and she never told me anything about anything. She just said because the land moved over, switched a little bit, and that now it belongs a piece of my land to her.
You really had to get it surveyed by,
Yeah.
There's several surveyors in the area. Frequently that happens, so boundary lines are difficult. And I don't think the town has a lot to do with that.
Right.
Yeah, the town would not be the way to go with surveying. Carol did mention that she did have her property surveyed not too long ago. I don't know if she's done it herself. She does have a background in that, but she is concerned in the upper left corner that there is a pin that may have been either pulled out or has been paved over. So these properties run very, very, very close. Carol, you could see Carol at 21 Claybert Ave. Her driveway really abuts 23. These are 2 older properties, so clearly the setbacks are very small here. But in regards to property boundary dispute, that's going to end up being between Antonia and Carol at 21. What we're looking for is what is going to happen in the back there as far as replantings or putting back some vegetation that had been lost.
Yes, I had called the company, that he said that he's busy, but he's gonna call me back to clean all that area out and take all those leaves that you see there, take them out and clean it and put a couple of like little trees there.
Okay. So the company that did your driveway or the company that cut the tree?
No. It's a company that does landscaping, it picks up leaves and stuff like that. And he
Okay.
said he will fix it and make it look pretty back there.
Okay. Well, at this point, I would not recommend, you're not gonna be able to put anything in the ground at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna wait for the spring, like in around
But
May.
you could, yeah,
Just
that's the
clean
thing.
it. I was gonna just clean it out and then wait into May and have him come back and put a couple of trees back there to make it look pretty.
Okay. And we had talked about a couple of smaller trees if you wanted to go with that, or if there's some shrubs that you could put along there. But as I mentioned, and Fred had mentioned as well, that border of trees there that are already there, Antonia, don't go beyond there.
No. I just tell him to clean out the leaves and where the leaves are at, to plant
Yep.
some trees, some little trees there so it could look pretty. But nothing beyond anything of touching anything in the back at all.
Yeah, the soil just needs to be smoothed out. There's a stump there that if he's, it can probably stay and become part of the landscape. You could put a pot on it, but I wouldn't recommend pulling anything else out of there.
Oh no, definitely nothing. Nothing's
Yeah.
gonna be taken out. Only the poison ivy that you told me about.
Yeah, I would definitely, all you gotta do with that is just cut it at the bottom and you should be all set.
Okay.
Fred, you were with me to check this property. Do you have any comments? I think I did a synopsis pretty
No,
good.
I think you covered everything.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any specific questions or recommendations aside from she's going to have a landscaper come back in May. This is going to be raked and smoothed out, nothing beyond those trees. I really think that a marker this would be a great place for a marker. A wetland marker that we have, Antonia, as wetland protection area. And you put that up in the middle there.
Okay.
And then I would probably go with,
Joey, how many do you think? Like 2 or something?
I would do 2. Yeah, 2 would be good.
Do we want them, I guess, maybe on a little like green stake, or would you want it on a bound?
I think on a green stake, so they're up and it's there, and it's because that area, it's, there's a lot of invasives in there, but I would just, like she can't really go beyond that because there's no other, no other reason, just leave it as is. You start playing around with that, you're encroaching on the wetland, and that's not good. So I would put 2 bounds in the middle, and those should probably go on stake. They can be probably drill a little hole in the middle and put it on the stake. And then if she wants flowers here along the driveway, I'm fine with that, but at least, I would say at least 2 to 3 trees or 4 to 5 shrubs. And like I said to you, Antonia, the trees should be smaller trees. There's an eastern red bud that I had showed you. Seems to be popular. There's a list of native plants on our website. We encourage natives. I would definitely recommend looking at those.
Oh, okay.
And your neighbor obviously has some smaller trees that would fit under here perfectly.
Oh, and while I'm thinking of it,
Yep.
even if the surveying stakes have been paved over,
Mm-hmm.
They can still find them. They just use a metal detector.
Yeah.
Right.
And even
Yeah.
if it's been pulled, there's still going to be residue of the stake. So they can get at the starting point. So they should be able to find your line pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Do you mean a surveyor or someone else?
Surveyor.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
okay.
she were to call up a surveyor and say, hey, I need to find my pin.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna.
Antonia,
I've been calling. A lot of people don't do them. I don't know where you find them. I've been even asking the lady next door to me that has all the vegetables and stuff like that, because I like I said, I didn't know anything. When I brought the house, she was out here and she didn't even tell me nothing about, oh, look, this piece of land belongs to me or anything. She didn't mention it at all. After I brought the house, like 4 or 5 months later, she's coming out with that, oh, a piece of your driveway, it's mine. And I said, well, you didn't mention it before I brought the house. I met you twice and you never even mentioned it, not even once.
That wouldn't be something she'd mention. I mean, it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter even if you go over the survey, it would just be part of, the survey would know that. And you just put a different, the same stake would be on top of the paving. That's all. The boundary's the boundary. So.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the land survey, punch in online, land surveyors in Webster, there are several. They're not necessarily going to be in Webster, but they're going to be more than likely around the Worcester area. There's there's several groups in the Worcester area. Just punch in land surveying Worcester County or Worcester or New Webster and search the yellow pages and tell them that you just need someone to come and use a detector to find a pin.
Okay.
And if you paved over onto Carol's property, you're more than likely gonna have to discuss with her how you guys want to mutually handle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, Antonia, you don't have a DEP number. Did the DEP try to contact you at all? Someone from the state?
No, never.
Okay. All right, I'll work on that to see if there's anything we need to do to get that through. So Joe, I guess we can't necessarily close the hearing, but we might not need to have Antonio on again.
No, if we, as long as we as a board, after public comment, we as a board agree on what we're working with here, and no public comment, then we could issue an order of conditions pending DEP number and any feedback from DEP. So commissioners, any other comments, input, suggestions?
I have a question. Are we going to add a condition about the bounds and no work beyond that?
Yep.
Okay. I'm good.
And 3 trees or 4 to 5 small shrubs. And those trees should be at least 2 inches in caliper.
And you want those hand dug or a machine?
Nope,
Someone
they should be hand dug.
And then the bounds are gonna go right at the edge of the driveway, a foot back, or what?
You can actually kind of, Mary, see between, there's 2 maples, there's sort of just beyond this vehicle, there's a tree, and then there's an opening right in the middle there. Then there's another kind of wide opening, and then a smaller opening right there, right in there. That's sort of the 2 midpoints of the property.
So let's just, how far, you want them 2 feet back, 3 feet back? Let's give a number so we can give her some guidance.
It's gonna actually be right in line with those trees, and I believe those trees are probably, what, Fred, about 6 feet back? 5 feet back?
Sorry, what was?
Where the bound, I said to put the bounds between the line of trees. And like within the line of trees, and all these trees are set back almost in a row, about 5 or 6 feet back. We can't hear you, Fred.
Sorry. I'd put them like about a third of the way from each of the property lines. Because that way you're never that far from one.
Yeah.
How far back from the pavement is my main question.
It's about 5 or 6 feet, Mary.
Okay.
It's, we could, if, in the spring before she gets going with things, you go out there and you could probably put a peg in.
Yeah.
And, maybe have it orange so that she knows that this is where it goes. All right. Commissioners, any other questions?
No?
Okay. At this point, are there any abutters here for 23 Claybird Ave? Open for public comment at this time? Last call for 23 Claybird Ave. All right, commissioners, can I get a motion on this?
I'll make the motion to issue an order of conditions for 23 Claybart.
Contingent on DEP number?
Well,
Sure.
first we got to close the public hearing.
You can't close it because you don't have a DEP number.
Yeah, we can't close it without a DEP number. And then if we need to reopen it the next time, then we can. All right, so Michelle, that's obviously pending the DEP number. Do we have a second?
I second it.
All right, Robbins was second.
All right, Dr. Jewell,
Yes.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
All right, so at this point, Antonia, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so we've moved to issue you an order of conditions that's pending a DEP number, okay?
Okay.
And so Mary will get in touch with you once the DEP number has been issued. The commission will then end up asking the public if there's someone here as an abutter with comments. And if not, we'll close the public hearing. And you'll be all set in the spring. Mary's going to give you an order of conditions. She'll cover with you what it is and what we just heard, what we put in place for you.
Okay.
Before you start anything in the spring, contact Mary, and she's going to.
Okay, yeah, I'll call her first and she could come over and show me
Yep, she's going to
where
show
she
you
wants
and
the
she'll
little,
talk
where
to you
she
about
wants
your
to
order,
do
okay?
that or stuff like that.
All right. You're all set. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time and your help. I really appreciate all the time that you're giving me and showing me different things that I didn't even know about. So I really
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. And any questions, always call our office.
Yes, yes, I know how to get in touch with you in case I have any questions and everything, but I really appreciate all your help. I really do.
Not a problem. all
Thank
right.
you. Have a good night and a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you.
Be safe.
All right, so welcome Hayden. Next up, 124 Gore Road. Richard and Erica Weil, construction of a single family home to include a wetland crossing. Who do we have? We've got Erica. I see Erica. And Erica, are you accompanied by your husband?
Yes, he's with me as well.
Okay, so Erica and Richard, and then Steve, you're the engineer on this?
Yes, I'm here too, Steve Poole.
Okay, yep, we met you on Saturday. All right. So we're going to open the public hearing for 124 Gore Road. Mr. Poole, do you want to take us through the project?
Yes, this is a new lot. The property has been split in half, or I should say it's in the process of being split in half. The planning board meeting is next Monday for an approval not required plan, just to review so that they agree that we conform to zoning, which shouldn't be any chance. We have plenty of frontage and plenty of acreage. So as you can see in the plan, it's a 1.68 acre parcel. There's a knoll on the back down toward the lake where we propose to put the house. And the driveway will be coming down from Gore Road. It's about 150 feet down the driveway to a wetland crossing. And the crossing's roughly 70 feet across. Not all wetlands, but about a 70-foot long crossing. And then it goes up to the where the knoll is, where we're gonna cut that knoll down to put the house there, and that's about another 70 feet. So there's about 390 feet altogether, 290 feet altogether of driveway coming down. That'll be a gravel drive with the exception of a paved pad up by the street itself. The wetland crossing is 804 square feet of wetland. And we've got a proposed 1,000 square foot replication area. The site was flagged by Ecotech. You can see all the flags that he put on the wetlands and along the edge of the lake itself. The flow comes across the street. There's a wetland on the opposite side, on the east side of Gore Road. Flows through that culvert and then drops down into an increasingly wide wetland area. And then just beyond where the crossing is, it narrows down to a very small stone lined channel, rough stone channel that goes down to the lake. And then obviously you can see it widens out down at the bottom. Ecotech prepared a wetland replication protocol for that area. So the concept would be that we would dig that out, get it down to a subgrade elevation, then excavate the wetland soil in the crossing and put that into the replication area and augment that, as needed to bring it back up to the wetland grade. So it would be a level area with a wetland there. That will be surrounded by erosion control itself. And this is the original filing plan I did, an amended plan that we had out on the site walk. And I don't know if I can bring that up.
Let me see if I can share that with you. I'll have to make you the host for a minute.
Okay.
We'll do that.
But we did include
or should I not do that?
Erosion control on that plan and whatnot. So.
Or you could quickly email it to me, then I can bring it up.
Okay. Let's see. I have it open on here and I'm trying to, how do you bring it up? The screen share?
Yeah, I think I have to, I'm not sure. I have to make you a host, I think, to do that.
Now, Mary, you can,
Is there another place to do that, Joey?
yeah,
I've
on
only
the
done it
bottom,
once, I
where
forget
you
how
see
to
where it
do it.
says security on the bottom? You should have an icon that says security.
Yep.
Click security.
Okay. Yep. I
Press to
see.
share.
Okay, now you can try it.
Okay.
So Steve, click that green button in the bottom.
Where to go? I lost the screen. Okay, here we go. Screen share. Oh. Yeah, that's the updated plan. We show the erosion control on there. And we added a few other little notes and whatnot, but that's primarily it, just the same plan with the erosion control barrier, which runs down along here and then around the replication area, goes across up into this area here, and then also starts on the slope here and comes across and goes all the way down and around, and you know, travels down along this proposed grassy path. There is an existing dock down here in the marsh that's you know, it's existing, but it's, you know, it's got to be, you know, rebuilt. It's all rotted out. So, but that's going to be you know, a grass walking path that goes down to the wetlands in the lake. So it will be town. We're proposing town water and town sewer. There'll be a grinder pump that would pump it up to the street and tie into the town water system and bring it down to the site. So we did also add in the back here, we added an infiltration system. That this whole hillside is a nice gravel knoll. So we'll be able to collect the water from the roof and put it into an infiltration system in the back, so we can recharge that area there. We're showing a riprap slope along here. And as we talked out on the site walk on Saturday, we can change that to the core logs and kind of double them up so we can get kind of a little bit of slope with an area that we can do plantings along and through here. And the other thing we talked about was in the replication area, there are some large trees, and we were talking about making the replication area a little bit bigger and doing a little micro topography so that we can make islands around those trees so we don't have to cut them down. And I think that covers pretty much everything we talked about. If anybody's got any more questions, we can go over that.
All right, so I've got a bunch of questions for you, Steve.
Okay.
Number one, we didn't have the design of the house. Is it going to be on slab? Is it going to be a basement, walkout basement?
It's gonna be a basement. It won't be a walkout though.
Okay. All right, so there will be a basement. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to show you, I'm going to stop your share if I can.
Okay, I think I can close it out. Okay.
And then I'm going to share my screen, and I want to show you what I was talking about. Filtrex, I'm sure you're familiar with these guys. Good company. They create, they have what they call living walls. And this is so that the wilds can see this as well.
Yep.
And I'm sure you may have worked at some point, or Ecotech has definitely worked with these type of cores where they get anchored into the hillside, and you can have, it's all vegetated versus just dumped gravel, where amphibians, if there are any box turtles or anything like that, has a hard time crawling over. Visually, it's more appealing, very low maintenance. So I just wanted to show you these. If you go to the Filtrex site, there's all sorts of information on the living walls.
Okay.
If, you know, if we could at least look at possibly swapping out the gravel riprap for something like this, it would be ideal, because then you're keeping, you know, a lot of natural aesthetics to the property. So that's the first thing. The second thing I've got, Mary, if you could pull the plan back up, please.
Or do you want the new plan, Steve's plan?
Oh, yes. Steve, you can share your plan again.
Okay. Hang on just 1 second. Why does it keep doing that? Okay, where did it go? Mary, I think I'm on your screen.
Okay, well, I can share mine if you
Yeah,
want.
Mary,
Yeah,
you're
if
sharing
you bring
yours.
yours up, it's basically the same plan without
Yeah,
the
it's
erosion
similar.
control.
So looking at this, I was studying the plan today and looking at the grade that comes down from the street. Mary, if you can possibly move up a little bit. Thank you. There is quite a grade that comes down and you've got it in steps coming down. I am wondering if this replication area is better served between wetland flag 19 stretched out a bit over to wetland flag 23. Because not knowing what's coming off of the street and all of that runoff from the driveway, you know, right now it's a natural hillside. Much everything comes down over near the culvert and the far right corner. But once you open that up and you've got a spot for lots of sand and salt in the wintertime to come off the roadway and on the driveway, I'm wondering if it's best served if the wetland replication area just runs expanded along almost that 80 contour. If there's enough space there.
You'd have to
Okay,
probably
we
keep
can
it-
make a long, narrow replication area is what you're thinking?
Yeah, what I'm thinking is between wetland flag A19 and wetland flag A23. It seems like you've got some room to be able to bump out probably enough space, and it would just run sort of parallel with the current wetland rather than making this little lobe that sort of is, I mean, you're going to bring it down, but this is already almost at the grade of the wetlands. So I'm wondering if it would make a little bit better sense to put it between A19 and A23.
Joey, don't you think that'll end up being a lot of disturbance in this area where there is hardly any disturbance at all? And that they would have to pull the hillside because it's kind of steep here. I mean, it might work well. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, I could go back out and look at that. I don't know how many, big trees we have in that area, but yeah, then there's also the possibility to move it so it's we can kind of rotate it around between 29 and 31 in that area, so it's on the slope coming down from the road itself. Yeah, in that area there, that's another possibility.
I think that would be better. The issue with wetland flag A19 to A21, that's right along that pre-existing stone wall in the woods right there.
Yeah,
and
that's
you're
true.
disturbing that entire wall as well. I think you're right on the basically mirror that, flip-flop that 180 and make the rep area over there by wetland flag A32 to A29. I think that would be much better.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point, and that was something I had forgotten, Rich, was that stone wall that runs there. Yeah, Mary, you've got some photos, don't you?
Yeah, I've got pictures. Here's maybe we should zoom in a little bit. Kind of the wetland.
That knoll that's going to come down.
And this is the wetland. I think that's looking towards the knoll with the stone wall.
Yeah, that's correct. So.
And then here's the trees that were in the replication area, I think. And here, yeah, there's that stone wall that goes along there and the knoll.
I'm curious.
It looks like there's a fair bit of trees through there too. I think this is kind of maybe the area you were thinking, Joey. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the area. I'm just curious between the wall and the wetland flag, you know, where does it become upland? And
Right.
is this area possibly a better suited to put it? From what I remember, I don't remember too many big trees near that stone wall. Typically near New England stone wall, you'll find like a pasture tree every, you know, maybe a couple 100 feet. But from what I remember there, standing out and kind of observing, I think there were several smaller trees, you know, obviously still of value, but not, there weren't a lot. This had been cleared at some point in here
Yeah.
because there's a lot of, it's a successional forest here.
Yeah, we can take a look at both those sites and.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind talking with Ecotech and find out what's a better solution and to get it away from the driveway.
Mhm.
So now, in regards to the driveway and stormwater runoff, is there a plan in place to, obviously going to be running the utilities through this area as well? And are you going to have the driveway sloped towards the wetland or towards the opposite side?
We were thinking of sloping it to the opposite side to, you know, from the edge as you're going up the driveway, sloping it from the right to the left. So it would flow
Okay.
against the existing slope in that area.
That would probably be better.
Yeah.
Just
And
for
the other thing
any-
we could do, if we move that replication area, we could actually make a little pond at that point too. Make, you know, a little, put a little culvert under the driveway, or we could slope it from left to right and bring the water into that, where the replication area is, and put a little detention pond.
Like a sediment basin?
Right, something to
Yeah.
trap it and let it over, give it a chance to settle and overflow.
Yeah, like, you know, just a depression there. That wouldn't be a bad idea to collect anything coming off of, obviously the roadway, but also what could be coming down the driveway and, you know, any erosion of some sorts, because obviously this area, you know, it's going to be disturbed and it may be raw for a bit. Which brings me to another, you know, another item is there are significant invasives that run along the property line right around the garage. And that area at some point must have been disturbed because it's very, there's almost no invasives anywhere except for almost along the property line. So
Yeah, I think that area was filled way back when.
yeah, it seems like someone was filling it in, and to make that commercial lot a bit bigger, and then they couldn't go any further because of the wetland and the stream. And it's been sort of at some points kind of a dumping area. So I'd like to know if there's a plan of removal for those invasives along that hillside, because once you open up this area, you would not believe how fast knotweed and the Japanese barberry and I saw a lot of bittersweet that would just run right into the entire area.
All right, I can get together with Scott from Ecotech and we can go through that
Yeah.
and kind of come up with a plan for that. But yeah, there's a tremendous amount of vines and whatnot that we figured.
Yeah, those are all
we can rip those down with an excavator when we're on site.
Yeah, so you know, with that, circling back to a discussion that we had on site was, you know, if Scott is doing, you know, the restoration plan and making you know, decisions for the plants and the planting plan that's going to be for the restoration area. Obviously, you're going to want to have the restoration area looked at for 2 growing seasons.
Right.
So that would be, you know, fall to fall, fall to fall, however that ends up falling. With that, we had talked about a restoration plan of getting some native plants back into some of the landscaping. And one of the things was starting with with that replacement of the riprap with that living wall. But, you know, possibly putting some trees back, and, you know, where they may go.
Okay.
I don't know if he's someone to talk to about that, or.
Yeah, well, as I say, I can, you know, I can work that out with Scott. We'll come up with some kind of a plan for that.
Yeah, you know, obviously, I mean, I don't want, you know, I mean, we don't want pine, you know, a white pine, you know, 5 feet from their house, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, some smaller native trees. I mean, there's still a lot of woodland in this area, which is good. But once that knoll is down and gone, it's really going to open that area up. So you're going to want to get, you know, hydroseed or a jute cloth, anything on those slopes, on the right side here, to the back of the house, replanted and shored up right away so that the ability for invasives to take hold is minimal. So that was one thing. Now, as far as the retainer wall for the stream crossing, is that going to be Versa block? Is it going to be concrete?
It'll either be the, you know, the ideal type block, the architectural block, or it could be the bigger Ready Rock type wall.
And
some advantages are, you know, the Ready Rock is a bigger wall, but it goes in a lot quicker, and its stability is a lot better, I think, than the smaller architectural block. You know, due to the size and weight of the block itself. But it'll be, you know, one block system versus another, and we can come up, you know, that could be what part of the you know, requirement of the order of conditions that we give you a design for that when the time comes.
of course. And then as far as the culvert's concerned, I forgot, do you remember the size that you're using there?
We were going to match the culvert coming under the driveway, which is a 24-inch.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Okay. Then the storage of equipment during the process of the construction. Is it possible to have refueling and storage of equipment on parcel A? That way it's far enough away from the wetland for any kind of refueling or any of these trucks to be parked.
Okay, Rich and Erica, how do you feel about that? Maybe up?
That's not a problem. I can talk to the owner of the other gravel parcel right in front of our property.
Yep.
And potentially work a deal out with him. If that falls through, then if we have to, they can park on our property. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that would be actually ideal. You know, that way if, you know, while it's construction's going on, at least you don't have the trucks parked there during the weekend.
Right.
So, yeah, because refueling and the equipment should be as far away from the wetland as possible.
That would also give them a, you know, a little bit of a storage yard for material before they bring it down to the site.
Yeah, that was something else that I was gonna actually ask about because I don't see, you know, we need to know where storage of materials, are gonna be. Given the, soil, being, sandy and gravel, with this area, the way that it was obviously left by nature, I'm assuming that you're gonna be bringing in loam.
Yes, in the end.
Right.
I put some notes on the plan, on the revised plan that says
Okay.
there's no storage of material on site. And, you know, all the material we take from that hillside, we can use for the driveway going up the hill
Okay,
and
Yeah.
whatnot. So, but we'll probably be bringing in additional material
yeah, any
above and
additional,
beyond that, plus loam and seed and whatnot, so.
yeah, any additional material brought in as far as loam needs to be certified invasive free.
Mhm. Okay,
Just so you know. My other item that I had while I was there thinking, we talked about the Chapter 91. By the time your project closes out, because this is a 3-year permit, Erica and Rich, you'll just need to get that Chapter 91 permit done to the state. And it's $75, simplified form. And it'll be part of this application, and it's a 15-year permit. So
Okay.
just so you know, that's required through the state because we are a great pond. Replanting plan, town water sewer. Then the other question I had was, are you going to be doing any kind of a deck or a patio around the house?
I would
I would
imagine-
imagine where that infiltration system area is, that there probably would be some type of a deck that could span over that.
Okay,
But that, yeah, we hadn't talked about that at all.
all right, because if there are any plans for a patio, that's going to need to be factored into your impervious calculations.
Yeah, it'll be a deck, no patio.
Okay. All right. You know, if you're, if you're thinking of a patio, make sure you just let us know now, so that way when we come to give you a COC on the property, at the end, we don't end up with surprises.
Okay.
Understood.
And those are my notes.
Joey, do you want to talk about the limit of work and what trees will be cut? And maybe we need to look at Steve's plan for that.
Yeah, the limit of work is on his new, I believe it's on his new plans.
New plan, yeah, let me try that again.
And
I lost my screen share again. Here it goes. No, I think I'm still on yours, Mary.
Oh,
Let me try this one. Is that,
there you go, Steve.
that's the whiteboard, but I thought maybe the plan was on there.
If you try hitting escape, you might be able to pull up the plan on the bottom. Hover your mouse towards the bottom, you'll probably be able to bring it up.
Okay.
And reshare your screen.
No, I keep getting. Let's see, what else can we get there?
Now, Erica and Rich, you may, while Steve's doing that, the walkways that I'm seeing on here around the garage, are you planning on any kind of pavement around the garage?
No, we don't plan on any pavement, no.
Okay, and then what would the walkways be made out of?
I don't, crushed stone?
Okay. And I don't know, Steve, if these walkways with crushed stone were added into your impervious calculations or not.
No,
If they're crushed stone, they'd fall under impervious areas?
Actually, no, sorry.
no, I apologize. I'm a novice at this, so I can't
It's no
get back
problem.
to the original one. Let me try. I'm just going to exit and come back in.
Commissioners, while Steve is coming back, did I miss anything? Are there any questions? Obviously, for the folks that did attend, and I'm sure Fred has reviewed things.
Mr. Chairman, we talked about wetland markers at the marsh.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. That was a note I forgot.
Yeah, I always had thought about that too after I did my report. I'm like, oh, this one probably needs markers or bounds.
Yeah, we're gonna probably want to do.
And that's a
There should probably be at least 2 to 3 along the house side of the wetland in the middle. And then at the BVW down at down towards the shore. And just so you know, Erica and Rich, these markers are basically they're little squares that towns end up, they incorporate them into projects. And it basically lets, if you were to sell the property, the next homeowner knows this is the bounds of a wetland. Do not disturb beyond this point.
Yep, I've seen them before.
And they have to go up in perpetuity.
Okay. Now, do you guys want the stand-up sign style, or do you want bounds flush with grade?
I think that, well, commissioners, what do you think?
Joey, my thought would be with a property like that, with all of those trees, the flush with grade are most likely to get lost and covered.
Yeah.
And eventually over time, they're just not going to be found. So
Yeah.
the above ground post would probably be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just probably on a 6-post, like, one of those green strip posts.
Yep.
Or another option is a concrete bound that comes out of the ground a foot. That's another option, whatever the board or the homeowner thinks is best.
Yeah. Some people like them to look a little bit nicer and have them on a concrete block or even a large stone that's been sort of shaved away on one side and you cement it to it. So
We do have at least one person who's gone to the stone yards and bought broken granite pillars.
yeah.
Because apparently they're pretty dirt cheap because you can't use them for the original intention.
Okay.
And you're trying to keep a lot of the nice natural look of your area. So, I mean, if you wanted to do, I would say probably a little bit more than a foot up, Mary, probably 2 feet, because like Hayden said, you know, you put them close down to the ground and within 2-3 years, or just leaves falling, they're covered.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
but I mean, we can iron out those details to, that's small potatoes. But just so you know that we're gonna require probably 3 around the front wetland, and then probably 3 or 4 towards the water.
Okay.
All right, so we got Steve back.
I'm back, but I still haven't figured out how to get back to that plan. Everything I
Okay.
tried doesn't work.
Mary, why don't you pull up your plan? And
Steve, I didn't look at it too carefully. Was the 25-foot line kind of the limit of work for the most part?
Pretty much. I put erosion control and then I went up along here and across and then basically across. So it pretty much followed that 25-foot on both sides and went up the hill on either side of the driveway. So.
Yeah, so I guess maybe the question is like around here, whether you could pull it up even closer, whether you needed to have it so far down.
Yeah, I think I kept it along the path, and then I get up to about here and then cut across and went up along the 25-foot up and through here. And then obviously across the wetland at this point, and then crossed over, from here over, and brought it around and then back up along this line here. So yeah, I try to keep it as tight to the grading as I could. And I've got hard copies that I will get in the mail to you, some full-size drawings with that on it.
Great. I was just wondering if so are you guys planning on removing trees all the way down to the limit of work everywhere? I guess that's kind of the question.
I don't see the need to remove trees like in this area here or down and through here. Only in the areas where we actually have to do grading.
Right, that's kind of what, so I was just wondering if maybe the silt fence and limit of work could go closer, like if you're not going to be working in like this area, maybe it could go up a little higher.
All right, well, as I say, I'll get you those plans and I'll take a look at them and I can maybe red pencil some changes and see if you think it's good.
Okay.
And we have an additional, it's an intermittent stream here, but do you think that we're going to need an additional wattle along the sort of house side of the stream bed?
Oh, like here?
Not along in.
Well, you're going to have your erosion control for the actual core of the development there, but just as a safety, another one closer to the
Down and through here.
wetland flags.
Oh, down here?
Yep.
Yeah, we could put one like, 10, 15 feet off the brook.
Yeah, I would just do that just for safety, because this empties right into the lake. And in the spring, that can really get going, and you may even start to see it going now with the water rain that we're starting to have. So, yeah, I would do that. I would recommend the use of the orange silt fence on this. And then any saved large trees, you'd want to wrap them or put a red, orange ribbon around them so that they don't get damaged by equipment.
So
Okay.
like, for example, if they decide to keep the replication area, those trees in the replication area would be wrapped.
I think it's probably going to require, once we get sort of a final plan as to where the, what's going to happen with the wall, are we going to be doing the livable wall here? you know, where is the replication area really going to be going? And, you know, the concept is really at the point where, all right, we're almost, I mean, we're almost there now, but there's just some rejigging of some things that we need to have happen. We should probably walk the property and flag the trees that, you know, the owners and probably Steve would say, you know, these could stay, they won't be a problem, just to keep the integrity of the landscape intact, and you don't end up with a completely torn up issue, and then it trips the stormwater bylaw and all that jazz.
Okay.
All right, so commissioners, do we have any other questions, concerns, input?
Joe, I have a question, Joey.
Yeah.
In one of the documents, I think is the replication plan, there was mentioned that they were near an estimated or priority habitat. What does that trigger for us if they're waiting for HP?
I checked it, and the 2 priority habitats that are nearby is, one is on the top of the hill where Rawson Road is.
Yep.
And right behind actually Twisted Piston. There's a large priority habitat there, and then the other priority habitat is at Fish and Game.
Okay.
So this product, that was one thing I looked into, and they're pretty, this project's far away.
Okay. So it's just a formality for any HP to come back and say, all good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I looked into that.
Thank you.
All right, have you folks received a DEP number?
I have not seen anything yet.
Okay. DEP is obviously behind due to the fact that they're all working from home. And will more than likely, because this does have a stream crossing, we're probably going to have comments back from them. And so we can't close this public hearing anyway without a DEP number and seeing what their comments are. But I think the items that we discussed, I mean, is enough to kind of cull over and chew on for a little bit and look at your plan and make adjustments.
Okay. Yeah.
So do you think that by our next meeting is the 7th? Do you think by the 7th you'll be ready for an update?
When's your next meeting after that?
You're
going to meet before Christmas, or?
Yeah, I believe we do.
We have one
7th, I
scheduled.
think.
If there's no hearings, then we'll probably drop that meeting.
The next one would be the 21st, actually.
Oh, yeah, we could make the 21st, I think. I don't think we
Okay.
anything
And
soon.
then in the interim, if there are questions or you want to meet up and cover some things, I mean, I know that I'm willing to go there, and you can, you know, Mary's got certain days she's in town and working, and certain days that she works from home. So, you know, if we want to, you know, if you want to ask questions and bounce some stuff off of us, meet up there again.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, no, it does. I think
right.
we'll definitely want to do that.
Erica and Richard, do you have any questions or any last thoughts?
No, I think you guys covered everything really well, and you know, we have a direction that we have to go with the plan and make our revisions, and we'll pick up from there.
Thank
All
you.
right, sounds good. By the next time you meet, if you can find out definitely about the stockpiling and the storage of vehicles on the lot next door, that would be great.
Okay, sounds good.
Because then we can put that can go on the next plan. And then also, as far as your spill kit, I'm going to probably say that the spill kit should be located adjacent to a tree that is not being cut down. It's somewhere in the middle of this property, and we can probably, maybe over near the stone wall. And that's in the event that, equipment dumps over or hydraulic line blows or anything like that. Someone
Yep.
can not run too far and grab what they need to start the cleanup process.
Yep, no problem.
All right. So with that said, if there's nothing else from the commissioners,
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
yes.
Do we want details on the culvert or the crossing itself? And a drawing,
Yeah,
I think that would be a good idea to do a cross section showing the culvert and the wall.
yeah, if you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be great, Steve.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Standard. And out of curiosity, for which rainfall method did you use in calculating the rainfall?
I think, double check, but I think I did let's see, what storms do I have here? Yeah, I did a 100-year storm, up to 100. So I did a 2, 10, and 100.
Okay. Did you use Atlas 14?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I know there's some other stuff that's even, some of the newer things are even higher. But
Yeah.
I can double check
14
on
is
that too also.
Atlas 14 is probably going to become a standard eventually when they roll out some new regs, and we're trying to get engineers on board with using it. There's some that still use TP40, and it's not, it's significantly different in some cases.
Yeah, no, I think I had a 8-inch rainfall for the 100-year storm. But I know that some of them are more up toward 9 inches and whatnot.
Yeah, and then just one more note before I ask for continuance. If you wouldn't mind checking the flood, the flood data. I see the line for your wetland flag down near the water, but checking the flood maps, I did see flood maps in your report, but I don't see any kind of flood zone on here.
I thought we had. Okay, so I see what you're saying. You'd like to translate the information from the map onto the site elevation-wise. So.
Yeah, just as where the, where, FEMA flood has your, your high water.
Okay. Yeah, it goes up the shore just a little bit, but yeah.
I sort of grazed over it, but it, wasn't anything huge. So, but it's good to have that on the plan as well in case DEP notices that it's not on there and they want it. All right, so with that, if there's any other questions, please contact Mary. And commissioners, can I get a motion for a continuance, please?
Joey, I'll make the motion.
December 21st.
Joey, I'll make a motion for continuance until December 21st.
Great.
And I'll second.
All right.
Dr. Jewell,
Yes.
Ms. Cirillo,
yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
All right, great. Happy holiday to all three of you, Erica, Rich, and Steve. Stay safe, be well, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
Excellent. Thank you so
Good
much.
holidays.
Likewise.
No problem. Anything else, you let us know. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, happy Thanksgiving. All right, next up, DEP number needed 302 Killdeer Road, Maureen Kimmach, This is the retainer wall that is beginning to severely fail. We now have a DEP number for that. So we just need to reopen the hearing. So can I get a motion to reopen the hearing for 302 Kildare Road?
I don't
I
think you
motion
need,
to reopen the hearing.
you don't need to reopen it because we
You
just
don't?
continued. You just need to close it now.
Okay, all right. So then with the DEP number issued, then can I get a motion to close out 302 Kildare Road and issue the order of conditions?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing for 302 Kildare Road.
I'll second.
Okay,
All right, Dr. Jewell,
Yes,
Ms. Shirillo,
Yes,
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
yes.
Mr. Brown.
Abstain.
Okay. Next up, 5 Cudworth Road LLC, repaving existing asphalt, removal of sediment from a wetland. This is continued from November 9th. We were waiting on a DEP number. I saw the Tooth Fairy in the house here. Mr. Cowell, how you doing?
Joey, how are you, sir?
Good. How's your daughter doing?
She's doing well, yes. As tonight I have video feed so you guys can see me, and you guys may recall from the last hearing that I was the guy with the audio, and the 6-year-old lost her tooth and immediately dropped it down the storm drain, and then she had a meltdown because she didn't think the tooth fairy was coming. So I hope this will be easier tonight. As of the last hearing, we continue. I think that the Conservation Commission was fairly comfortable issuing the order of conditions, but we hadn't had the DEP file number issued at the last hearing. The DEP file number at the 11th hour was released earlier today. There were 2 minor comments that came out of DEP that I think were very easily addressable. One was they had just requested affirmation that we had no less than 2 feet between the bottom of our infiltration chamber and high groundwater, to which our civil engineer responded, yes, he affirmed that that's correct. Again, the stormwater report was already vetted. It was probably just buried in a spec detail somewhere in the stormwater report that the analyst didn't see. So easy answer. And then the second question was just pertaining to whether or not street sweeping was required, and they referred this to a standard at DEP. But again, that really is a very easily conditionable. If you guys are concerned about, typically on construction sites like this, that the applicant is responsible for keeping the streets free of sediment, and they're responsible for cleaning it if there is sediment tracking. And again, we can visit whether or not they need to put like a gravel-based stone tracking apron at the front of the construction site. But they've been under active construction now ahead of time, so I don't know if that's been an issue or you guys.
Yeah, they're mostly, I was out there, they're mostly done. Like it's all paved, that part.
Yeah, this is a pretty late after the fact notice of intent at this stage in the game. So very easily response to comments from DEP. I don't think that there's anything loose ends on that part. So I would turn it back to the commission. Yeah.
Could it be built into the O&M plan that, obviously after the winter months that we've got, sweeping and cleaning done that way, there's no issue again?
Yes.
Number 1. And number 2, I believe we talked about a snow storage area with signs.
Oh, right. I had since followed up with the, that was a response from the prior hearing. Apparently, still management areas are identified, not necessarily in the plan, but in the operations and maintenance plan. They have snow management is part of the stormwater management report on how they'll manage those piles away from catch basins.
All right.
So again, I don't know the intricate details of I'd have to open the O&M plan that they have already. But it also includes the O&M plans have standard maintenance for sediment following meltwater runoff. There's usually Any catch basins are typically cleaned out in May once they're pretty safe from no additional snowfall. That's standard for most, I guess, public works departments as well as sites like this.
Yeah. I would just like to make sure that there's, 1 or 2 signs up, Dave.
Sure. And that's conditionable. I'd be happy to do that. If you guys just put that in the condition.
Now, in regards to where they're planning on putting the snow, do you remember on the plan where they're planning on storing it?
No, we can, I thought that sorry, I failed to recognize that there were still lingering items. Do you guys have the site plan available to broadcast?
Pull that up.
All right. Let's do that. And if you want to take, I don't have a copy of the operations and maintenance plan handy in front of me, but.
Once that, if it's finalized and ready to go, then, if you can just shoot that over to Mary so it's in the file.
Yeah, I think, I think that was included in the stormwater report. Was the O&M plan is standard in the stormwater report.
Okay.
I'm not sure. This is probably the best one to look at.
Yeah, see, I don't know if it would be on the construction specs as it's probably, this is sort of in construction best management practice, but then I don't know that we would carry a detail in the plan. It might be in the O&M plan.
Okay.
But again, yeah, we want to keep these away from, to prevent meltwater from catch basins. But again, this is maybe 12% of the site is in buffer zone to wetland resources, and the overwhelming majority of the site is outside. We do want to have this written into the operations and maintenance plan for stormwater protection, and it's likely already in there. I just don't know where it is.
Okay.
This is.
Yeah, I just wanted to address the snow storage. I'm glad you brought up street sweeping.
Well, that's a credible question, though.
Oh, yeah. Commissioners, we pretty much, last time have pretty much gone over this. My last question to you, Dave, before we close this out is, when are they planning on doing the bucket challenge?
What is the bucket challenge? You mean getting the sediment out?
Getting the sediment out of there, yeah.
As soon as, again, as soon as we have the 10-day appeal period lapsed on an order of conditions and they recorded it, as soon as physically possible. So that's the very first task at hand. And again, we just need to see what the site conditions are. Right now, I think that it's still loose enough and friable before you get into deep freeze that, it might be harder to get sediment up when it's frozen.
All right.
As soon as possible.
Okay. Yeah, and if you can just let Mary know when you're going out there, that'd be just so
I'd like to coordinate that with you guys. Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, so can I get a motion to issue the order of conditions with the addition of snow storage signs and street sweeping, which should be in their O&M anyway, but Mary, let's make sure that those are on there.
Yeah.
And who would like to make the motion?
Don't you need a motion to close the public hearing?
No, we closed it last time to issue the order of conditions.
No,
No, I think administratively.
DEP number wasn't issued.
Oh, okay. All right, so motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
All right,
I second.
all right.
All right, Dr. Jewell,
Yes.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Mr. Bach, Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bach, are you there? Is he muted? He's muted.
You must be dealing with puppers.
Mr. Bach? Oh, well, okay,
We can get him after.
yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So you're all set, David. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joey.
Yeah, have a safe and happy Thanksgiving and to you and your family.
You guys as well. Blessings, guys. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Not a
And I want
problem.
to thank Dr. Jewell for my eyesight. I think these eyeglasses are through a prescription from Dr. Jewell's practice. So
All right.
the 20/20 I have, I think is in part due to her.
Robin, did you realize that David was a
No,
client?
I didn't. I'm trying to think back.
No, it was a small world. I recognized the name and I said, where do I recognize Dr. Robin Jewell? And I said, oh, that's my optometrist. So
You know where to find her now.
small
Last name
world.
again, I can't David what? What's your last
Cowell.
name?
Cowell.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I'll
David
look it up.
Cowell.
Yeah, small world.
Right.
Small world.
It is.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
We'll look for the order of conditions. And yeah, anything like the snow management, that's conditionable things that you guys can just plug in and we'll turn that around to you. All
All
right.
right. Sounds good. Thanks so much,
Happy
David.
Thanksgiving. Blessings,
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving. Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving, Dave.
All right.
All
Be
right.
well, guys.
Bye-bye. Fred, are you back with us? Mr. Bach. All right. I need a motion to continue 137 Gore Road, Twisted Piston, to December 7th. They asked for a continuance.
Isn't December 7th Pearl Harbor Day?
It is. Are you celebrating it?
Well, I just think it's kind of amusing that we're going to continue it to Pearl Harbor Day. I'll make the motion.
I will say that, it definitely fits.
Yeah, I know.
I'll second that continuance.
All right, Dr. Jewell,
Yes, I second that, the continuance till the day of infamy.
okay, Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Now, Joey, I think on those previous two, 302 and 5 Cudworth, we also need motions to issue an order, right? I believe, or did we do that last time?
No, we did that last time. That's why I was saying, closing the public hearing when we issued the order last time. It's okay. Fred, we needed you to vote yes or no to close the public hearing on 5 Cudworth Road.
Oops, yes.
Unanimous. All right, so discussion items. We do not have anyone here for 21 Bayview. Minor modifications expanding a deck, do we?
I don't think so.
Okay, do we want to put this one off?
Yeah, I think we have to.
Okay, yeah, all right, because if you don't know what's going on, and plus I'd rather talk to the person.
Yeah.
Next up, certificate of compliance for 115 Minebrook Road. Selling a home. And if you read Mary's report, a little bit of dumping going on, but everything else looks good.
Yeah, I can pull it up. All right, so this was for a single family house. House is built. Whoops, boy.
This is from 2008, so folks know.
Yeah, so it's from a while back. House, deck. I don't think the deck is even that big. We'll see in the pictures. And the thing is, it's a very small lot. And they didn't end up putting a fence up, but they do have a little tiny kind of retaining wall. And yeah, so it's a kind of a simple plan, but the house is built. And then if we go back, we can look at the pictures. There's the house. This is kind of along the edge. There's an intermittent stream going along kind of around the property. It's like over here, you can see kind of the culvert. I should zoom in probably, but the culvert where it goes under the road is over there. So it's, maybe 20 feet away from the edge of the grass. This is kind of behind the house. It kind of wanders around. Maybe hard to tell, but there's like branches and there's like an old Christmas tree, that kind of stuff. And they don't own any of this land, actually. I think their property line is the grass. So they're dumping on the neighbors. And then there's another view looking at towards the intermittent stream, which runs along here. And some of the junk, there's like piles of grass clippings and stuff. And here's the small deck on back of the house. So the deck is much smaller. So.
As far as Mary, is it worth it to ask them to at least remove as much as possible when it comes to branches and stuff, so that the new homeowners don't see that, oh, I can do this too? Or could we just ask them if it's okay to put in a post with the sign on it?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, it wouldn't have been in the original order, but that might be. Unfortunately, this one came up quickly. They've already closed. The lawyer, I told him I didn't think there would be issues, so that the original homeowner, probably we couldn't ask them to remove this stuff out. I did tell the lawyer that the new homeowner should be aware that they should not be dumping on the neighboring property like that.
Well, can you, I would be okay giving a COC if the lawyer is okay with us putting up a sign in the back.
Okay.
Just
let me see if it's on the plan better. Oops, all this is stuff. No. I can't try to remember if the plan shows the wetland very well. It doesn't even show the wetland. This is a bad plan. Oh, there's the wetland flags. It goes here, you can see, but it actually goes like this. It goes across the back. They should have had it wrap around.
where are they putting all grass clippings and stuff?
It's kind of going mainly in this area.
Yeah, that's a bad area.
No, yeah, it's not good.
I would do, one or two right on, tell them we'd like them right on the property line.
Okay.
Right at, not large, they're not large signs.
Okay. Two signs.
I think that is, given the fact that we did not find those folks for wetland dumping, I think that's a fair trade-off.
Yep.
Aside from that, I think everything else is good. And I mean, we can work with the new owner to put signs up, or whatnot. So, how do we want to handle this? Do we want to hold off until the next meeting and you talk to the attorney, Mary, or?
I'm not sure if, because the signs were not in the original plan, I'm not sure that we can hold off the COC because of that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yep.
I think we have to issue the COC,
Right.
but we can ask that signs be installed. I think that
Absolutely.
would be appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, it does not hurt. It doesn't hurt to ask. And, I would definitely express that, the new homeowner familiarize themselves with living with wetlands because they are 20 feet away.
Right. Yep.
From an intermittent stream.
Yep.
So, and the commission recommends giving with the certificate of compliance that we add one or two small wetland signs.
Okay.
Aren't they also close to a priority habitat there?
Yeah, there is a priority habitat in this area.
Mary, can you go back to that photo?
Whoops, not this one. Never mind. Yes, I can go back to the pictures.
Guys, there's bigger issues with this one. Their driveway goes right up to the house, and on the plan, it doesn't show it going up to the house.
Yeah, the plan. Yeah, the plan it's a bad plan. They don't even really show the driveway. They show the
Yeah, they
driveway.
do. Right there's that
Yeah,
dash.
but they don't show it going up to the house. You're right, and it is larger.
Yeah, I mean, there's bigger issues at hand here. I mean, I don't know how you guys want to handle it. I know when it was approved back in 2008, but.
Yeah, I think when it's an old project like this, I think we kind of have to let that kind of stuff go.
Yeah, there would have been no impervious calculations, right?
Right. Yeah. And perhaps, I mean, I could see the intermittent stream over here and I didn't see any wetland flags, but it's possible that the wetland really goes right along there. It wasn't obviously super wet though.
Well, it's intermittent and it's got a the geomorphology for it is there for a reason, because water has run for some time.
Yeah.
Let me look at shit. 115, Mary?
Mm-hmm. Are you on the GIS?
I am.
Okay.
And that's Sutton Road.
Do you want to pull that up? I can stop sharing.
Yeah, give me 1 second here. Yeah, Michelle, looks like they're I mean, in the back, I mean, where the wetland goes. Can you guys see that?
So right.
So
Parcel number 9.
all right, 991.
It's down, Joey, it's down
Yeah,
next to
Yeah, it's right
117.
here.
Yeah, it's
So-
right there.
It's further back, but yeah, this was a tiny, tiny lot.
It is. And unfortunately, the lot next door is for sale.
With the stream?
Yeah, the one with the stream.
Oh yeah, it's 0.
Or maybe it's the one behind it, the big 3 one where there's that little narrow access. Maybe that's what's for sale.
We're gonna have to keep this in mind, given the fairly close proximity of, just because this is where they've mapped to doesn't mean that the species doesn't migrate.
Mm-hmm.
And then across the street, well, you've got over here as well.
Right.
All right, so what do I would say, you know, it wouldn't be out of our league to ask the attorney if we could put in, you know, we could ask the new owners to work with us and we can put in 2 signs. And then issue the order of conditions. So Do you want to make a motion to issue these order of conditions for 115?
Yeah, certificate of compliance.
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
the compliance for 115 Minebrook.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second on that?
I second it.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Jewell,
Yes.
Ms. Sherillo,
Yes.
Mr. Bach, Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Fred, are you on now?
Yep,
Mr. Bach?
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Mary, please note in there, within that file that some of the discrepancies as to what is now versus what was planned, like the extended driveway and so forth.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Just,
The extended driveway, the undersized deck, and the lack of the chain link fence.
yeah,
fence.
I don't think that was either. I don't think that was flagged either. So
Yeah.
it was a different board at that time. So
We're gonna call Hayden Eagle Eyes. You picked those up pretty fast.
Yeah.
I look at plans all day. I tell you, I look at it makes my head spin, but
there was a reason that
Good
I was
at it.
asked to be on the board. All right, so next up, COC on 14 and 16. Mary, you want to give us an update on that?
Right. Well, I was hoping Pamela would get on. I sent her the invite, but I guess she did not. And I sent an email around if people think that some of since David has passed away in an unfortunate car accident, I noticed on his obituary that the family was requesting that trees be planted in his memory. And I thought it would be fitting that trees could be planted at 14 and 16 Wakefield, perhaps out of the conservation budget, just to kind of put an end to the fighting and recognize the tragedy that's happened here. So,
Who was it that passed? David who?
do you remember the young gentleman who was, Robin, you might not have met him, David Ochungi. He was the son of the contractor, and he's the one we dealt with for the most part.
Robin, remember when he was on, he said, oh, there's trees that are close to the house. He was a young
Yeah.
kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
he died in a car accident.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Now, was that the thing that there was some controversy with before I got on, that fella? Was that?
Oh yeah, maybe we were talking about it earlier. It's possible.
It's you know, we went back and forth several times with these properties through the
Yeah, no, I think I remember
through the
it,
process. So
yeah. He was really trying to work with us. I remember because there was a shed or something in back, and I just remember wasn't the family with the one that came from Virginia or something with
yes,
dogs?
yes,
Dogs,
yep, that was them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
So-
was 25.
So Mary, actually, the request for trees is generic, I think, on that website. I don't think.
Yes, it is. No, yeah, it's definitely generic. Yeah, I mean, it's not something the commission would have to do. It just seemed like it's a nice goodwill gesture, considering.
I think it's a great idea. If there was ill blood and, like, he seemed like he wanted to work with us, and, things happen, everybody's there, the people live there now, it's in the past, let's move on for negativity. So I vote we should put the trees there in the guy's memory. He's a young man.
And I'm against it 100% and think it's only rewarding bad behavior.
I believe in forgiveness, so let's move on.
Okay, so if this were to happen, Mary, how many are we proposing on 16 and 14?
Yeah, well, if we go by the original order, I think it was 39 trees for both properties. And they would have been the Atlantic white cedars spaced 6 feet apart.
How,
The number might be a lot lower because both of the families were talking about doing part of that area with the fence.
Yeah, certainly the 16 Wakefield wanted a fence. And then we had discussed that maybe they could do fewer trees. And they seemed ready to pay for their trees anyway. I know for 14 Wakefield, the costs seemed to be a little bit of an obstacle.
If we're going to plant trees, then I'd prefer to plant them in Joe Kunkel's memory and not in David's.
I can see that, Michelle. I understand.
I'm okay with it. I would say one, I think it would be nice to have trees. Take care of the trees, settle this, give them the COC. His father, his father doesn't have to worry about this. We don't need to communicate with him anymore. I think the money could be spent in a better way, but, it's a very tragic event. And so was losing our chair that led us through that as well. So I would be okay with the memory of maybe half of them with Joe and half of them with David.
It's a great idea.
But if we're gonna do this, I'd like to know how many, Mary, we're gonna need, what the cost is gonna be.
Yeah, I can figure that out. And
I would talk to native plant, New England wetland plants.
okay.
He might be able to give a bulk discount and tell him that you want to talk to Graham Anderson.
Okay.
And let him know that they're being planted in memory of two people.
And
see what the
cost doesn't stop there. Who's going to plant them?
Right, that's another point.
So I think this is the wrong thing to do, and I think it's going to open a can of worms.
I agree with Michelle on that. I don't know the history of the property, but I disagree with paying to put up trees that were part of an order of condition. It's one thing to do one tree in a memorial, but to do 16 to 39 of them, or however many is required, it's setting a bad precedence going across to multiple projects. Because now you're telling other builders if they refuse to do it, if something tragic happens, you're going to just do it for them.
Well, I don't think anyone wants their son to get killed in a car accident when they're 25.
Robin, that's not the issue. I mean, we're just saying it's not setting a good precedence as a board.
Well, I think that's a pretty big thing to happen to a family. So I don't think that'll be a regular occurrence to say precedents happen.
It is, but I mean, this, we struggled through quite a quarrel with the developers on these two properties, and
yeah, no, I know.
And we have very limited funds that we have to use very carefully.
Well, how much money are you talking?
Yeah, I need to figure that out.
it could be.
I was hoping that would be under 300, but I guess it's possible it could be more.
Well, I'm looking at one on Home Depot, and it looks like it could be it's about $30 for a 9-inch. That's
we have to look at. We also have to look at the cost of having a DPW worker go out there for, probably 2 days to plant them all. Do we know what our DPW crew costs are for a day?
And that's if he's got the staff.
Exactly. That's where this gets into. That's where it gets expensive, is with labor. It's not the material. It's the labor of sending somebody out there to do it.
And the potential of messing with the wetland.
Yeah.
Well, seeing all of these angles, I am starting to I'm leaning your way. I actually do. And I mean, it is a really nice gesture for someone.
Yeah, I mean, it would be one thing to donate a tree for them to plant, but to go out there with however many we require them to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Hayden. And it would be setting could be setting a bad precedent. And we want, I mean, the accountability, that's the thing. And we've had problems in the past with others not, holding them accountable. I know it's an easy way to make a situation closed out, and I hate to use the word go away, but let's circle. I mean, 16 is already decided on a fence and they're putting it in, right?
They've submitted an RDA for their fence and for trees they want to remove. And I think, basically we had settled with them that they're going to plant a few trees. I don't think we settled how many, maybe a few red buds or something like that for their lot.
So we need to find out how many, they are. In the future, I'm going to recommend that when we do a condition, it's not necessarily as vague as, what was it, a barrier? Because that's pretty.
Well, it said 6 feet on center.
And it doesn't say a barrier. It's very specific.
Yeah.
And it's trees.
Yeah.
As a barrier.
Yeah, but I thought reading it had read a certain way where it was like it's a clear, delineated.
Yeah, the wording was actually used the term barrier. So a fence would serve the same purpose.
Right, but it was not vague insofar as it did outline that the trees were going to be a barrier. There wasn't a question of what the barrier was.
Right, the plan shows trees, but the order of conditions says barrier, which was the area that I felt we had wiggle room for allowing 16 to put in a fence in their backyard, because it does meet it does not meet the original plans. It does meet the intent.
Which is a barrier so that they're not going in the wetland, or they speed to stop.
But I do believe that there was, so I'm fine with the fence, that's fine. But we also had a question of how far the fence was going. Because I think when we talked, we said going across from where it is now. And I think the homeowner wanted to extend it further.
The way that it was going to work out was that I think it was going to cross one on the opposite side of one tree. And it's a tree that was going to be coming down anyway on an angle to connect with the other fence. And we weren't sure if they had mapped, if they had probably not measured correctly. The measurements would need to be done.
Yeah, I guess the point I'm trying to make, Joey, is that where they have the right side of the fence, if you're looking at the house, shouldn't extend any further.
Mm-hmm.
We should be closing off the two ends, not going out further than they are now, because they're already past the line.
Yeah, I was gonna run Michelle along in front of these trees. It was gonna cut across the broken one. See the broken one in the back? It was gonna cut behind that one. That tree was coming down, and then there was a few others there, and it was gonna connect there.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're on the agenda for next meeting for their fence. So we'll talk about it then.
Yeah, let's discuss that. We could probably issue an order of conditions. An order of conditions for the RDA, any specifics on it, and then if we need to put conditions on the RDA, and then hopefully close this one out, and then continue to work with 16 on what their what they're proposing.
14.
I had recommended the cedars because, it is damp back here and they won't grow huge. Eventually cover up in here. So. So are we in agreement to discuss 14 with the Carreras next week? And then if 16 comes on, we'll see where we're at with that.
Sure.
I think you're going backwards. 16
Yeah.
is the.
Oh, 16 is the Carreras, excuse me, and 14. Are we okay with that?
I'm fine.
Yeah, that would be
I
fine.
just thought it was a nice idea, but I don't know any of these people, so it's not, I'm not upset about anything, but I wouldn't mind helping paying if it was a difference. I like, the labor issue might be something, but if the people that said they have a cost issue, I wouldn't mind helping in memory of both Joe and, because I didn't contribute to that. I had just gotten on last year. So
Here, the other angle of this COC issuing is we got to make sure that we talk to the registry of deeds.
Yeah.
And let them know that 2 homes got sold and the deeds were not complete. And there were restrictions on in perpetuity and they need to be put on those deeds.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was the lawyers that missed it. It seems like that was the case, or the registry's fault. But certainly when the COC goes through, it will be for the street number and it will list the lot. So it should go to the proper property, I believe. So.
Well,
It got missed because they were originally filed on the 0 properties, and then it got transferred over to numbered properties.
When did they get a number? When does that happen? Do we know?
The street number?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, I think we should require, because on Black Point too, I'm a little concerned about those because those don't have street numbers either, but they do actually, when they apply for their building permit, they had a street number. So I think we need to be very careful about issuing orders where there is no street number and require them to get one before we issue an order so that it ends up.
Yeah, that is a good idea in the future.
How did they get one? That's the part I don't understand. How do you
Well, I know, I think the assessor just assigns it to them. I mean, yeah, the assessor assigns it. I even, actually we built our house and I got to choose our number. I went to the town hall and they're like, well, what number do you want? So,
that's not bad.
Well, in a range, do you want this one? Do you want that one?
Did you pick 007 Special Agent Overhauled?
Well, it would be useful to find out. I don't know if who the attorney was for.
I did call the attorney for
Theo Kashis.
Yeah, I called the attorney and the day of the sale because Michelle was watching it, and I told the attorney that there was open order, and they're like, "Oh, yeah." So I kind of feel like they were like an under the rug kind of attorney.
I think it was 2 different attorneys for those 2 houses.
Yeah. I guess I only called the one for 14 because that was the one that happened second.
Yes, so because when I looked at the paperwork on Worcester Registry of Deeds, one of them, I think it was 16, had attorney's letterhead, and 14 did not, which I found was kind of weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Minebrook house, what the attorney, when he told me, he's like, that house sold 2 times, and he was the first one to catch the open order on that one.
Oh, that's terrible.
So yeah,
in real estate law and I don't understand it.
Right. So I think it is a bit of a problem, and I think that Minebrook one, it did not have a house number either when the order was issued. So the attorneys are not searching by lot number, they're searching by house number, I guess. Some of
Yeah.
these attorneys.
Well, I want to make sure that those are on there.
I suspect a lot of them are bank attorneys. You know, they're handling it on behalf of the bank, and they're looking out for the bank's interest, not necessarily the
Yeah.
homeowner.
Yeah, true. All right, so what do we want to do with 14?
I think we just have to leave it until next time since we don't have the
Yeah.
homeowner.
Okay. 16 we'll discuss next week.
Yeah.
All right, so Loveland Road, Mary, you sent out violation letters to those that have been noticed of in violation.
Nope, I have not sent out letters.
Okay.
The hope was to at least walk you guys through it, but maybe we don't need to do that. All right. All right, so there were complaints about 11. I did not find that the complaints were sufficient enough to warrant any action.
Is that towards the beginning of the road?
Yeah, that's Ellen Stangroom across from her house. The
Okay.
DPW had done some clearing, and I
Yes,
guess they
and I
left a
believe-
little bit of a mess, and so Ellen cleaned it up a little. She may have, I don't know whether she cut a few more shrubs or not, but it didn't seem to be a large issue.
In that particular area, it's hard to nail down who might be, you know.
Right, I did talk to Ellen. She admitted that they went out there and cleaned up.
Yeah.
She said they just
Yeah, I
cleaned up the
remember
DPW stuff. So,
All right, so there was a complaint on 11.
then we have 23. 23 is a little bit more serious. So,
Wasn't there a paving of a driveway without a permit?
Yeah, so this is the new pavement, and then this is what the property card shows. So what did they do?
sharing? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Sorry.
They should file an after the fact RDA with us.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought. Actually, they converted this part to grass, so it's an improvement, but
But it's still work, significant
still
work
work.
got done.
yeah. All right, so that one, they need a letter, asked to file RDA.
Yep.
Let me just write this down.
And I would add in the letter, Mary, that, you know, some sort of verbiage that, you know, it's something about, you know, no, you know, thank you for, you know, not putting any yard waste or anything, you know, across
Okay.
the property. If that's the case. But it's kind of throw in a small reminder in there that we're still looking at these issues on this particular street, which have been a problem.
Yeah.
Has been a problem. Noted even through DPW folks too. So, all right, so 29.
29, so you can see here, they went and removed a lot of like little tiny shrubberies, but right next to the water. And so I thought that they should have gotten an RDA for this as well.
Yep.
Well, I would send them a letter and say at this, you know, something like at this time, the commission is not considering enforcement action, but we need to file, you know, we need an RDA file and we need to know what the intent is for clearing this.
Yeah.
That and the lake there does not look very good.
Right.
We should consider whether they should be planting there. That
Yeah, they
seems
should
to
probably be.
And replanting needs to
Replacement.
happen.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that. But let's send a letter, see if they come back.
And perhaps, Mary, it's been a while since I've read one of your letters. Let's make sure that we reference why we're bothering them. Like,
The last time we went down there, was what, last summer, Michelle?
yeah.
Well, yeah, this is all from complaints from 33 Loveland.
No, what I really meant was, let's spoon feed some of it, that this is against the Wetlands Protection Act. Here's what you're not supposed to be doing, and here's why, just so that there's no question.
And I can send out a draft for you guys just to make sure you think everything's in there.
Okay. It
All right,
usually is, but it's been a while, I feel.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to relook at those letters and make sure that they say what we want them to say.
All right, so 37. Yeah, closing in a porch, closing in the downstairs where it was a patio, taking out the retainer wall, right underneath the right-hand window, right there. They were taking down the large tree and putting in a pad for fire pit. So
Right.
what's the issue with this one?
Well, she keeps saying they're just being a little bit nitpicky. She keeps saying, well, there's landscaping work going on and that's not on the plan. I don't know what they're doing, whether they're planting
We
shrubs.
condition this particular property.
Yeah.
And
I remember that they were taking down that retaining wall and putting in some new landscaping because the block.
And this is the guy that had a light post that got struck by lightning.
Yeah.
And then
Nice antique light post.
the ladies complain that this area here was disturbed or whatever. I don't know that it has been. To me, it looks the same.
Just by looking at that, from what I remember from this property, no.
Yeah. So I think they're just complaining about this one. And then I did talk to them about their non-dock. They think it's okay, and I did explain that it's not a water dependent use because it's just for sunbathing or whatever, it's not a dock. They said it's not a dock. Well, I try to explain that if it's not a dock, you can't have it because it's only water.
It's right, and I would.
Any structure over the water is a dock.
You need any structure that goes over open water in this state needs a 91 permit.
Right, I explained that to them. So,
so we need a filing for that, and a friendly reminder for a filing for their shed and planter boxes. We need to find out what the situation is with why they were altering a wetland area.
Now, is that
Like
dock?
cutting trees.
Is that dock area at 33?
yes. Sorry, I'll pull that back up again.
Yeah, I wasn't able to read that caption before. That's all.
Yeah, no, see, they already have a dock. This is their dock, and then they put this little one in.
Yeah, I would tell them that if they'd like a sunbathing area, they can revise their Chapter 91 to include a larger dock area for sunbathing.
Right, and actually, I don't think that's even, you can't have a sunbathing dock. It is only a dock. I mean, you can
No, but if they go for more square footage on their
Right.
Chapter 91, they could use a portion of it for sunbathing.
But they don't have a Chapter 91.
Right, they don't even
It's
have
not. They don't have one.
Okay.
That's the real.
In all honesty, we're not going after Chapter 91s at this time, and I don't think we should start with 33.
Yeah, and especially since as soon as I mentioned that to them, they said their neighbors, and you can actually see this, their neighbors at 31, it looks like they have 2 docks, which would also be illegal. So
Yeah.
we don't
We're
want
ready to start that. We have to start that, and I don't think we're
There's
ready.
multiple violations with this particular property.
Right.
It's the same thing as if you get pulled, 3 cars are speeding down the road and a police cruiser catches one of you, and you say, well, the other two were speeding too, and that cop is going to look at you and say, I didn't catch them, I caught you.
That's true.
That's exactly how it's going to work. That's exactly how it works. And that's where we're at with this. We have been asking and asking and asking for RDA filing for what is across the street. Now they've disturbed it. Now there's a tree and they want to remove more trees over there. We haven't seen a filing for it. And now we know, because this property's been on the radar, there's now a dock that's not licensed. So
2 of them.
We at some point are asking is going to move to an enforcement order. And that is what I'm going to recommend if we do not hear from them or see them on one of these meetings.
Yeah, so they have 2 enforcements. They have one for the shed and they have one for the work they did with the loam and seed. And this is kind of their letter explaining why they won't do anything about it.
We don't really accept letters of why you're not going to do anything, do we?
Yeah, no. There's.
I think we do have the ability to find now that little piece of law that was kind of not quite right has been corrected and it's recorded at the Attorney General's. And so now we can find people with being properly legally supported.
Okay. And so
Let's,
go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead. No, good.
I was just going to make the point that we've asked them to come before us to fix something they didn't have permission to do, and they've ignored us. And with other residents of Webster, we've gone down the same path, and our next move is always enforcement.
And I'll be honest with you, when it comes to the DEP's action is if you don't move within the time frame that they give you, you begin accruing fines by day.
Yep.
So as the local, as I mentioned before, as the local permitting authority and the eyes of DEP on the ground in this municipality, alteration has occurred. Things have occurred that require filings. And, I've had people ask me, why is it okay for them to get away with all this stuff and yet I have to file? And I'm held to a different standard. So, with that, I guess Mary, I would recommend, let's kind of get all of the items in order and find out, obviously, we've got the 2 enforcement orders and what they're for.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, but it's almost a packet of problems here that just blatant disregard for a local board.
Right.
And it's really just it's starting to really wear on me.
So you would I can send out the enforcement orders for you guys to look at. Do you,
Yeah, and I want, for the record, anything within 100-foot buffer, you need to file with conservation. That is clearing, that's cutting, that is placement of large structures, that is a dock goes with 91, but you still have to file with us. In this property, because of its proximity, is in a narrow neck, and I looked, the 100-foot buffer basically forms 2 circles that go over one another. So, you know,
Everything they do is within the 100.
street side and their property is all under, you know, our jurisdiction. So are we in our right? Yes. Do we have non-compliance? Yes. Are we being ignored? Yep.
I do have a question, Joey. Mary had mentioned that we have the legislation that went through and was passed.
Yep.
We have a copy of how that reads. I'm just curious because I don't remember exactly what that was. I remember that there was an issue with it not filed correctly, though.
Right. It's a little confusing, but basically, in our bylaw, we had said that we had the
bylaw
ability.
or a policy?
No, we do have a little bylaw which allows us to fine, and it allows us to hire outside consultants. That's all it does. But when that bylaw was passed, it was never linked. The fining ability was never linked to some other piece of the regular town bylaw. It should have been linked, like it should have been mentioned. And so that was what was being fixed. So over the years, we've been fining people many, many times and not run into an issue. Like no one's ever said, oh, you guys don't have that linked. But someone noticed it, the planner noticed it. And so now we have it fixed, which is good in case someone, because if there would be ever to be someone to challenge it, then we would be in trouble. So
the real issue, Hayden, came down to when we fined, it was going under a criminal action, and a violation of this under wetlands like this, significant violations in a municipality like this are not considered non-criminal. Only does, I believe, the state have the authority to do criminal charges. And that's when you're getting into some really big issues.
Okay, so it was trying to file them as criminal even though they weren't.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know exactly what the issue was, and before we dove down that, I was going to say, should we involve the town attorney and just have him read it over and make sure that we're in the right?
Yeah, I think we're okay now.
Yeah.
Worked fine before too.
Yeah.
Mary, we have so many new commissioners that I think it's important that probably, so everyone is briefed, it's probably a good idea to send out anything that's been sent to them so they know that, what is being sent to our commissioners is exactly what they've gotten in the mail. So that all of our new commissioners are briefed on this, honestly, several year situation that has been going on down here. And then, the neighborhood is also a bit tired of it. And I also want to make a note too, for the record, that there is a serious concern of safety on that road within their easement of not being able to get emergency equipment down there in the event of a problem. An ambulance, a fire truck, any kind of emergency equipment, due to the obstructions that are on each side of the road. I drove my Mazda down there, and I was nearly getting my car scratched. So it's just, we're getting to a point where enough is enough.
So a safety concern like that should be filed with the town. Access.
Yes, but
it's
they
through the DPW to mandate a street widening.
I think
we're not getting the required width, the Department of Public Works should be the ones that make sure that the street meets the mandated safety requirements for access for emergency vehicle.
Yeah, Hayden, this road is a private road. It's not maintained by the DPW. The fire chief actually has been down there and ordered her to remove all this stuff. and they're just not listening, really. And they actually had, I think they had a restraining order put on the fire chief. So, I mean, it is like, as Joey said, it's ridiculous.
It's really a circus.
Highway department.
It's unfortunate. I mean, you couldn't even give me a house in that neighborhood. And, you know, and I got to tell you, I feel bad for the neighbors in that neighborhood to have to deal with that.
Yep.
I don't think that that's fair. So anyway, that is my serious input on it. We'll discuss this further once everyone has documents. If you have questions, I would reach out to Mary on any specifics or things that you don't quite understand, and she can give the background on it. All right, 72 Sutton Road. Or Mary, are we done with all of the homes on?
Yeah, I mean, the last one, I think I may have sent Mr. Kirsch, they've been complaining recently, is putting a lighthouse in, which sounds like it is rather large and extensive, and he should have filed. So I did ask him to file like an 7 foot tall lighthouse or something like that, not like a little tiny one. So I think that he needs to file, and hopefully he will respond positively to that. Yeah, I think we're all set with those.
Okay. 72 Sutton Road, removal of fill.
Excuse me, please. I have to leave right now. My niece is diabetic and she's been put in labor. So my sister.
Oh no. Well, good luck.
Well, Robin. She's only 7 months along it, so it's a little scary. She has twins, so
yeah,
my family's going through a rough time. So anyway, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And
yes, happy Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
And to point out, I think we've just lost our quorum.
No, we didn't. We have 4. Hayden's here.
I'm still here.
4 is the magic number, friend.
4 is the magic number.
And at the beginning, I counted and realized we had 4, and that was one leaving.
Yeah, Hayden joined us, and then now we've lost Robin. So we had 5 for most of the meeting.
We have Hawkeye Hayden.
All right, so here is 72 Sutton Road. I don't know, is it more helpful to look at the map first? Maybe I should show you the map.
Yeah, why don't you, or when you look at the map, folks, you're going to know exactly which property this is. It's been on my radar for a little bit.
Did you skip over a minor mod?
Yeah, we did skipped a few things actually.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I was confused at how we got where we were.
Okay, so we'll do this one first. We'll go back to the cove off of 9 Wakefield, but before we talk about this, minor modification.
The minor mod, actually, when I looked at it more carefully, it was basically National Grid was calling me to make sure that they were included in the order. And when I actually looked at the plans, it did mention some tree clearing work in this area, but it specifically said to be reviewed, you know, with the commission before the trees are removed. And so I went out there and looked at.
Loveland? Is this on Loveland?
No, this is Bigelow.
Oh,
The Bigelow Road Solar.
Oh, okay.
And it's in my report. Let me pull that up.
Okay.
Where are the trees? I think it's the last one. Okay, here we go. So they have to install a new pole because they don't have a pole in the right place. So I believe the pole will be going in this area. I'm not sure, but these are the trees slated to be removed. 1, 2, 3. They're keeping the big one. And then there's a few small ones, little, and I didn't get a very good pictures of the small ones. This one, and I guess that one's going too. So it is a bunch of trees, but it was, you know, kind of mentioned on the plans. Here's the utility poles that they're putting in. And where's the road picture? So here's the road. See how it connects with the road is it actually goes across the street here. So it sounds like they need to put a new pole back where the trees were to reconnect a pole in this area.
Well, I mean, they've graciously come to us in the past. This is National Grid or Eversource?
This was National Grid that he just
Okay.
wanted to make sure it was included in the order. And as I looked at it
Yeah.
more closely, I thought it probably was included.
Yeah, they have been on other projects. You know, they came to us for the project that was replacing a pole in the wetland over near Commerce a year ago. So, I mean, I definitely applaud them. They actually, under Wetlands Protection Act, they're considered exempt and they don't need to they can inform the commission that they're doing something, but we don't have necessarily, you know, if we said no to this, they could be like, you know, transmission right of way, it's, you know, it's exempt. So I would definitely, you know, I would be okay with approving a minor modification and removal of a few trees.
Yeah, and I think it was already included on the plans that trees were well, on the plans it says trees are to be removed along here for sight distance. And to go, and so I imagine these actually trees would have been the ones they would have needed to remove for sight distance anyway. And the poles were indicated on the plans as well.
They're small and they look like they're Norway maples based on their bark. So Norway maple is invasive anyway.
So we don't really have a minor modification though.
Right, yeah, I don't think it's really a minor mod. I think it's just a point of information for you guys.
Okay, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm no problem here.
All right, and then the cove, do you want to go to
Well, I mean, if we're going in order now and you got the cove there, then we can.
yeah. All right. So I did go over there a couple times. I didn't feel comfortable. Obviously, this was after the work was done. I didn't feel comfortable walking back there since the properties, you know, there were lots of cars in the driveways and stuff. So I didn't go try to take pictures other than what was done here. So it seems like we just need to write a letter of either write a letter of enforcement or issue an enforcement order.
So Mary, I think this is also related to where they were playing around in the cove at 23. I think it was 23 in October.
It's a similar, right next door or something?
Around the cove, it's kind of the other side of the cove. So this picture is taken almost next door to my house where the beach is to look across the cove. And if you were to go to the left of this
Over
picture
here?
and trace the cove, it would be, yeah,
Okay.
over there where your pointer is. So it was the same trucks, which are Bandilla, the same, it looked like the same dumpsters. They were clearly digging up something in the water, dumping it on the shore and picking it up with like a bobcat and dumping it into the dumpsters. And I was explaining, I think to Joey, that I'm pretty sure Bandilla was the same folks that picked up the gunk on Mark Ave, because they've been going back and forth. They went back and forth for probably a month. You kept seeing dumpsters getting dropped off and picked up in that area. So I truly.
With this type of activity, Mary, you know, you really can't tell what's going on here. Are they offloading something and it's getting picked up? Are they digging in the actual?
If you look closer at the pictures,
This one shows the digging, yeah.
In the water, they're actually digging with a scoop.
Yeah, that's dredging, like.
And they're dumping it on, at times they're dumping it directly in the bucket of like a small bobcat.
Yeah,
And then
that's,
up the driveway and into the dumpster, which was on the street that day.
I would, submit a letter to them that they need to get in touch with us immediately and find out what's going on. And I would even, a situation like this, I mean, I would, depending on if we hear back from them, I would go directly to an enforcement action on this because that's a serious violation.
Now, Michelle, do we know for sure, is it 9 or is it 11?
I'd have to go walk down the street, to be honest.
Okay. I think I figured out that maybe it was 11, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so it's like the first, second, third, fourth. It's the house right before the brown log cabin.
Okay.
I'll double check the number. I'll just take a walk over there. It's easier.
Okay.
Because I was trying to figure that out today, but it was rainy, so I was lazy.
Yeah, it was rainy.
And
Yeah,
then
rained hard today.
the other one was 23.
Okay.
Same, they were doing the same thing at 23?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Michelle had let us know, but
I did.
a while back, but we didn't have the nice, but these pictures are pretty,
Well, I couldn't see it.
yeah,
So
you couldn't see it.
I would have had to go in the water to see what they were doing in October.
Yeah.
But this
So
was easy.
did they put anything in the water at 23, Michelle?
Like what?
Like, are they putting in a footing for steps or something?
No, it was the same machinery. I couldn't get pictures because if you go down the street between 23 and 27, there's a big fence, and they were right
yeah.
over the fence. And so the only place you could have been able to see them from was the water. Or I would have had to bushwhack into somebody else's yard.
You couldn't have walked right near the stream, where the stream comes out?
It's all overgrown, you can't really see there.
Oh,
And the way that they were working was, if you look directly down the driveway, you'd see there was a truck and then a bobcat, and you could see some of the offloading, but you couldn't see it, the whole operation like I could when it was across.
I mean, this is a good viewing point here, but I don't want anyone putting themselves in harm's way for any reason.
No, this is just, I was over the house from me, there's a beach, and I've been over on that beach 100 times. So I was nowhere near them. I was across the cove.
Yeah.
And I don't know the neighbors that were involved either at 23 or that house. If I did, I would have just gone over and asked.
Well, I would probably do 23 too, Mary. 23 has, where are they? Do they have an open permit with us?
No, nothing that I know of.
That's 17 or something that does.
Yeah, it has been noticed that they've done something, excavation work has been done on your property, and we are inquiring.
Okay.
Hey, you may want to take the pictures and write up a letter and send that into the DEP so that they're aware.
Well, I'm just wondering if this is related to the Lake Association.
No, that is not hydro raking equipment. That equipment that they have is a harvester, which kind of looks like a flat bottom barge with little paddle wheels.
Yep, but I think, what were they using in Mark Ave? In the cove off Mark Ave, which is what the Lake Association was working on this year. It's just the same exact company picking up the waste. It seems funny. Vandilla is not a local. There's no one I've seen around, and those dumpsters were moving out of Mark Ave for weeks.
Well, all I can say is that's not hydro raking equipment. That's
Absolutely
dredging.
not. Yep. But, you know, I've had this conversation with Mary and Joey. What's the difference between picking up gunk from dead plants and dredging? Seems like it's a fine line.
Yep.
I mean, it is a fine line. This is clearly digging into a shoreline in the water. So this would be considered dredging.
Did anyone go
The
look at Mark?
technical difference is, are you removing any of the soil? In hydro raking, you are not. You're just removing sediment that is settled on top.
But I don't think they were hydro raking in Mark Ave. They were working to reestablish a channel to the depth of its original, like to its original depth, I think is how that document read.
Yeah, that would be while
Kind of dredging.
it is a restoration, and they probably had a permit for it.
They did for Mark Ave. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we let them do
So
it.
that one was restoration because the channel had blocked up and water was not flowing correctly anymore.
Yep.
But if we have an organization that's planning on doing something that is dredging like, it needs to be permitted for specific areas.
Yeah, and actually those permits have to come through Army Corps.
They do,
Hydro raking
yeah.
comes through DEP, but dredging is Army Corps.
Yeah, so it's an additional, you know, that's why with the new permit for Webster Lake Association, you know, they want to clear out, I think, another cove that's over near Treasure Island. And, you know, I mean, that's great, but you need to have the proper dredging permit for it.
And
It
in
does-
my,
It
in
just
my,
doesn't fall under you know, invasive species removal.
I was just gonna say, in my opinion, that's not like weed control.
Well, that's why in the new permit, things need to be said in a certain manner. We need to have an understanding. We're going to balance out the relationship, and, you know, certain things obviously can happen. I mean, you can permit these things, but we got to know about it. We need to be involved in the permitting part, and we're going to make sure that the resource is ultimately protected. And, you know, clearly we have some work to do. And, you know, I'm really hoping that we can really, you know, fix whatever is fixed as far as relationship wise and have an understanding. One is a permitting authority board and the other one is a stewardship board. So big difference between the two.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, I did see Solitude trucks in both of these instances.
Well, then we may want to send a letter to Solitude asking for an explanation on what exactly those projects were, since they had not come before us. They were not part of any submission from the WLA. And they could be fined for it.
Yep.
If it's a unpermitted activity.
Yeah.
That's a really mellow puppy.
Oh, look at Fred.
He's not a puppy.
All right, so we'll get letters out, Mary. If you need to go, I mean, if you want to go to these properties and do a knock on the door at some point or whatever, you know, coordinate with, you know, you can coordinate with me or Fred. I don't know if you're available, or Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, I can usually get away.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Joe.
So 72 Sutton Road.
All right, we're gonna start out with a picture, aren't we? Okay. So this started in the summer when a gentleman approached me and said, hey, I want to pull some material off of the Grand Trunk and use it for fill somewhere else. This person who lives here doesn't like having the Grand Trunk in his yard. And so that's how it started.
It's a piece of history. That's too bad.
What's that?
It's a piece of big history. Too bad.
Well, I guess across the street here, it used to exist too. He was telling me, although I don't see it. How that maybe they pulled the whole thing down, or maybe it stopped there. He said those people had taken it out across the street. At any rate,
Yeah. I'd point out that that is actually not their property. It is still railroad property.
I don't think so, Fred, according to the property map. At least on this portion. Other
That
places,
would be interesting.
I'm pretty sure that this is part of this gentleman's property. And so we originally he talked about kind of working in this area here. He had set up a silt fence. It was well, 100 feet away from this brook here. And it didn't seem to be going anywhere near this wetland. But when he actually started working, he's closer than I thought. This is about where the excavation stops. However, the tree clearing goes probably about, I drew a line there, to about here. And the tree clearing is within 100 feet of this wetland area, especially since the delineation, this hasn't been delineated. The delineation probably goes along the base of the Grand Trunk here in this area. So I think at the minimum, he needs an RDA for the trees. And this work.
If he's doing earth removal, Mary, I'd really prefer to see.
Well, I think the question is though, I believe this work is more than 100 feet away, the excavation, but it is not delineated. So I think if we ask him to do an NOI, we have to ask him to delineate the wetland and measure everything. This is the same gentleman who is doing the work up at 90, replacing that stone wall there.
Now, this was 72?
This is 72.
Okay.
And then here's the pictures. So the trees, yeah.
He's not far. I'm looking at the GIS right now, and he's not far from that same priority habitat that runs in the back.
Right.
And of course, there's at 76 next door, there's a wetland.
Right.
And
That is some serious clearing he's doing.
Yeah, so this is kind of the trees that are downed. This area I do not believe is wetland here. The wetland's a little further back. This is the Grand Trunk. This is kind of looking down, not necessarily in the wetland, but towards it. And
Do we know why he's doing all this clearing?
well, it was he wanted fill for another project, and so he's pulling out, excavating
to get dirt.
Yeah, it's a kind of a big deal to get dirt. And this is kind of looking towards the road. This is the kind of the edge of the excavation area. He's pulled out a lot of boulders and put them on the edge there.
My feeling is we got to rein him in. If he's living near a wetland, he's got to understand where it is and what he can do.
Right.
yeah.
Well, he's not the homeowner. He's, I don't know, he's got some deal with the homeowner. And then this is, where is this? Okay, this is looking up at the clearing, kind of not in the wetland, but kind of near it. Let's see if I have a picture of the wetland. This is from the top of the Grand Trunk, looking down towards his silt fence, which you can see is pretty far away from the work. And then the stream is back there.
Yeah, but we're still not protecting the stream. We're not.
Right.
I mean, is there a wattle? We need to have a conversation with the homeowner and this particular construction guy. Is this someone that we've dealt with before, that the contractor?
I think his name is Mark Williams. You guys may have met him because he did the work for Conrad Allen for the newer house. I think it's 90 Sutton Road, the one that we still haven't done a COC for. Did you guys meet him?
The one where they filled the culvert, you mean?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah.
It
So,
came from 72.
yeah.
Actually, it's probably some fill for, what was it, 88?
No, this work has started after that one was done. He told me he was taking it downtown somewhere. I don't know what the project was.
Yeah, I just feel like we got to get him under an NOI or something
Yeah.
where the wetlands delineated, and because it just looks like mass destruction here to get dirt.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? Are they going to button that up so it doesn't erode into the wetland?
Right. I think it needs kind of a plan, certainly a cleanup plan.
Yeah. Yeah, because we just can't have, a contractor ripping out trees, tearing up the dirt, and then just leaving it, because it'll be fine. It'll just erode into the wetland and grow a lot of invasives.
Yeah, I'm concerned with this one.
Yeah, it's a future problem.
So I would,
I can write him a letter and explain this to him. I had written him a letter earlier. He wanted a letter saying that he was okay to work here. And what I said in my letter was, well, from what you described to me, you are, more than 100 feet away from the resource. But if you are within 100 feet of the resource, you need to file with us. So.
Well, if he's within the 100 feet now, he needs to file with us, and it's been noted.
And I believe that the tree work is definitely within the 100 feet. I'm not sure that the excavation work is.
Well, the other question is, what's the intent? How far back are we going with the 72? Goes really far back.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's a big lot.
Most of that entire lot actually has the Grand Trunk on it.
Yep.
So,
he did tell me he thought he was done when I mentioned that there might be some concerns with this. I've given him a little bit of warning.
But the thing is, if he's done, I don't like the way that this looks with close proximity to wetlands.
Yep.
And if I were the homeowner, I would be really upset with how my backyard looks.
Mm-hmm.
Depends how much money you made on the dirt and how much you dislike trees. Right? You got someone to take your trees down for free?
Well, depending upon those trees, what, probably could, almost small logging, at least one truckload of trees.
Yep.
But it's got to be permitted. All right. Did Hayden fall asleep?
Nope, I'm still awake and listening.
Okay. Conflict of interest training. Anyone outstanding?
I think Robin, you need to do, Robin's gone. Robin needs to do her, the online training. And Hayden, I think there's one piece we're missing from.
Something I need to sign. What is it that I need to sign?
Let's see. I think it's the committee handbook form. And Kelly never did get her mic to work. Kelly, let me see if I have the stuff with me. I don't think I do.
Can you hear me okay now?
Oh, yeah, we can.
Okay, I think it's the code of conduct, but I can double check on that and tomorrow when I'm back in the office.
Yeah, if you couldn't just send me an email.
Sure,
Kelly,
yeah, I can do that.
I'll get that right back to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe just send
The
him
code
the
of
form.
conduct came in that packet.
Yeah, I thought I signed that one and gave it back to you that day you stopped at my house, Joey. But if it's something I have to fill out and email over, I have no problem doing that.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
took a picture of mine and sent it to Mary
Okay.
and Ann and Courtney and Doug.
And the select board.
And pretty much everybody.
And the TNG. And DEP. And EPA. All right, so go ahead with your report, Mary. Sorry.
All right, what else is in the report? Just, this is Joey, you had asked me to check out Reed Smith Cove Road, the new garage there. And it's looking pretty good. The grass is starting to grow a little bit. They've got it nicely strawed. They have a little bit of it's like they ran out of erosion controls or something, so they put their boxes, it's like right on the erosion control line. So it's not the greatest. There is no erosion issue here though. It's being fine. So I don't know.
The thing is if we get a good wind, is
Right,
that
that's true.
that siding gonna go airborne?
The day I saw it, I didn't think so, but I can ask him to clean that up.
Yeah, I mean, just tuck the stuff underneath. I mean, a box of siding is pretty heavy. It's not going to go anywhere, but those small pieces will fly.
Yeah. All right, and so that was that one. More pictures of it. Oh, this is a nice picture of the garage. It looks beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, isn't that nice? I think they redid like the siding on the house or two something. It looks great.
Some people have garages bigger than my whole house.
I know. Yeah, you're probably right. Because they had a basement too, remember?
Wow.
I went to high school with them.
Yeah. And then we're going back. This
She actually owns Lakeside Marina.
This is 54 Killdeer. They got their digger parked as far away from the water as possible, so they did well there. Foundation is in. Everything looked good here. The silt fence looked really good. The dirt is well away from the silt fence, unlike some of our other projects.
I gotta tell you, that was a beautiful property.
Yeah, that one's nice. And then this was just an administrative approval for removing trees, this pine tree. And they had some dead trees too that were right on the edge of the wetland, completely dead. And so that was that. That's the agent report. I'm still kind of behind. I have still, 100 pictures from over the summer that I need to get out to you guys at some point. But
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Any other items?
I guess I just need to, for the wrapping trees, I just need to write up a thing in our new orders and I'll email it, try to email it out so we can take this off the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, construction netting.
Yeah.
Just wrap the tree. That's what they usually do. And then there's one board and they wrap it around and then they, they staple it or use a gun with the nail bullets.
Nail gun?
What am I saying? Yes, nail gun.
I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know. I'm getting tired. So yeah, that and then.
And I think this policy discussion probably should wait for another time. I think it's more involved, right, Michelle? It was more about.
Yeah, I was actually thinking maybe I'll write up a few points on it when we finally get to it. We'll have like maybe an outline of what it should be.
Oh, that's a great idea. That would certainly help us get going, I think.
Yeah, because working from a blank sheet of paper is rough.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Can I ask a question before we adjourn?
Yes.
Mary, with this new Dropbox that we're using,
Yeah, have you tried it yet?
I did, yep. It looks like there's gonna be a new link for every meeting.
Well, this is what it's going to be. This is actually we're only using the Dropbox for the meeting temporarily. Everything is going to be on the website, and we still need to set that up. That takes a little bit more work. So Kelly and I are going to be trying to figure out a good way of doing that. So unless you have a opinion, I mean, if you have any comments or suggestions, you can let us know.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering because like a link per meeting means you can't really navigate around if you're looking for something. So that's why I was asking about Dropbox.
Right, and I think, I mean, that's one thing I was asking Kelly and Ann about for the document center, because there is a lot of material on there now, but it's hard if you're wanting to find something that's like 3 months old. It's not necessarily sorted at all by like street address, and I think maybe we can talk about a way that we can do that, because that way I think it could be really useful for you guys as a reference if everything's up there. And the other thing that you guys may want is, now we've been using EDEP to submit all of our orders of conditions, I don't know, for 3 or 4 months now, and you guys can get that login if you want and look at anything that's been submitted. You're allowed to use that login too. It's basically for commissions. It may be easier, it's a little bit clunky. If everything's on the website and in order, it might be easier. I think on EDEP, there wouldn't be sorted by street name. You would have to know the DEP number. So that would be kind of hard because you probably wouldn't know that, except that we do have the ledger of filings, which is going to be available to you guys on the website somewhere.
And the ledger of filings, that's your spreadsheet that we used to have access to?
Yep, that's a spreadsheet.
Oh, I love that spreadsheet.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm afraid we haven't been doing a very good job of, I mean, it's being updated, but I know I used to update it, on the Google Drive every once in a while, but I haven't done that in a long time, so.
Okay, so we're not stuck with Dropbox and a link for every meeting.
No.
You're working on a project to make it easier.
That's good. I'm not sure how much easier the website is going to be. I'm not sure. It sounds like Kelly knows more than I do, but I'm not sure how well we can sort them in there in the document center.
Well, one of the things that maybe you can ask whoever knows more about this than you and me is, can you also create another document that just has links? So instead of thinking, I'm going to move folders all over the place, can you create a spreadsheet that has links to different things? So you sort the spreadsheet and then you hit a link and that gets you to the right folder and the right stuff.
Kelly, comments? I know it's Ann's plan eventually to have a database for everything, which would be searchable and then give you a link to all the documents. I'm not sure that she was intending for board members to have access to that. In terms of, I mean, it was going to be internal. I don't know. I don't know what and that's something I can ask her, because certainly it would be very useful for you guys to be able to look that stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that database was just going to be internal, though. I'm not sure how the website stuff is going to work. We're still kind of thinking of and working out the kinks.
Well, the thing is we need to, as a board, be privy to the information that is submitted in order for us to adequately do our job. So, I mean, I work with all 351 commissions, and some towns, they print everything and give a packet to the commissioners. Mm-hmm. And others, they have a Google Drive or Dropbox, and all the information is in there.
So currently everything, I mean, all the NOIs are on the website right now, so it is accessible. And then the RDAs have been going out with the, I guess you maybe haven't had access to the RDAs. They were on the Google Drive though before the meeting. The RDAs will be going on the website.
Great.
Great.
Thanks.
Hayden's got company.
Yeah, she's been pawing at my leg for the past hour to go out.
All dogs welcome.
So this will suffice her for probably another 5 minutes as she slides off my lap right now.
She's a big lap dog.
Yes, she'd like to think she's 5 pounds, but
All right, very good. Well, thank you for that, Mary. All right, so anything else?
Not me.
Can we entertain a motion for adjournment?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. I want to make a note that the meeting has ended as of 8:40. I want to bid everyone a very happy new year.
Happy New Year.
Families, and stay safe.
Happy Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.